Design a biofeedback study today. Have a look at what we have around DFlow. We have graph, we have generator, and a script here, and a graph 3D. Usually what we have, if you have a graph and you show it here, you can actually add the generator to it, and you can provide a graph, which we can call it the biofeedback. But some of you would be interested in knowing how you can do this programmatically so that you can access to many things in that table, in that graph. So have a look at what I've created for you here. So what I've created here is just a script. Has nothing to do with this graph. It has got all the labels and the title and the graph itself. It can be shown to your subject or participants as quickly as possible, as you can see. So let's recreate this one. How can we do it? So let's just start over. All right. So you had generator, remember? So you want to generate a signal, for instance, and then you had, what should we call it? A script, okay? So that you create the graph then you connect these two. So you have all these channels here. So basically, as you know, we have the input and output in the script, so you can access what's happening, what's inside, coming in and coming out. All right. So in order to do that, we start with, we have graph function. So let's say graph and create. Okay. So if you run it, you can see that we created it. Cool, right? As simple as that. But there's something wrong here. It says maximum number of object reach. Why do you think this happened? Okay, for now, let's accept it that we are doing it, and we just keep going to make some changes here, and then we will fix this. Okay, let's have a handle on this. So let's say G is that. Another thing is what's happening here is basically nothing happens in the biofeedback that you wanted. Why? Because we're just running the script. We're not running it from the DFlow runtime. So if you start there, all right, it actually creates that. Again, it doesn't work. The reason is basically this one. You'll see what it means. So the reason is simple, because every time that this is running, so it's basically this much, like 200, 300 hertz, every 1 over that value is running, and it creates that. So it's basically 100, it just keeps going until it reaches 100, which is the maximum, and that's why it just it's an error, right? Well, we can fix this as we go. But before that, we want to get the value. There's nothing. It's like basically this script doesn't understand what's happening in the generator. That's why this doesn't plot anything, right? How can we do that? We need the inputs, right? And get that input from, let's say, channel 1, and channel 1 is connected to channel 1, connected to input 1. Channel 1 is sine, right? Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works. But again, nothing happens, right? So let's call it something. Let's call this one value, right? Again, that doesn't seem to be like connected to the script. We just collect the data, right? Here's another function that we can relate these to. We can set the values, right, of that graph from the channel that is in, and the values from that channel. Does that make sense? So let's see what's happening here now. So everything works, but again, there would be an error at the end, probably here, you see. So at least here's not what, again, running here doesn't run the generators. If you run it from the generator, but there's something that's missing, right? So let's fix that one so that we can figure this out. What we need this one to be done just once. So we do say, for instance, if, then, and then end. There should be something here so that if, let's say, X happens, then this graph is created, and that's it. All right. And then we can say that graph is created. Graph created. And the good thing about this one is, let's call this one G, because G is going to change, right? When you say G is this, so G is going to change. It's going to be 1, and then G is not 0. So when it's 0, then basically it's just going to be once created. Let's run this one. Again, there's a problem because we haven't defined a G in the beginning. So let's just initialize it. G is G, or call it 0, right? So that's initialization. You see what's happening. The cool thing is, so with G means and if G is 0, which is the very first time graph created, you can see here, and then the rest is being evaluated, and you can see here nicely that the plot is going on, right? Isn't it cool? So basically, this part is your initialization. Correct. Initialize it, and then you create values here. You create a graph just once, right? And then you wanna get the value, right? And then you wanna set the value, right? Set the values from the table. And now here, you just set it, so you see that basically everything works. But you're not interested in that. You just want, and you notice in the beginning that you want this in a specific area in the VR. So you need to change the position, the width, give it a title, give it a label, etc. All right. So everything has its own nice little code here. So for instance, you can set the position, okay, and this is the graph, and then give it the values that you like. Let's say you want to be around y just 5 meter upward, and then -4, right? So you see just moving there, and you can actually change it as you go, just on the spot. Isn't it cool? Okay. And then you can change other things, like let's say set the width, right? The same thing, graph, and then the width can be like 10, can be 20, So what's happening here, you can tell like 30, something happens, but something doesn't work. So when you make changes like that, you need to do something to basically redraw things, all right? Redraw, how do you write it? Draw, I guess like that, okay? Redraw things. So basically when you do that, then it creates the proper one. Make sense? So if you don't do that, let's say 10 is there. So it's correct. If you don't do this part, it's not gonna, you notice what happened. You can make changes to alter sort of things details, but I quickly finish it off with the title. Okay. For instance, so I've written before, let's say like this. Okay. And then you can have the labels as well, right? Let's just bring these two upward here, and then right. And that's what we are looking for. And this is your first 3D graph. And you can have, that you could have had 3D graph like the one that we have here. If I can find it here, right? But that is not having all these details that I showed you here, right? You cannot have all this. You have some details, but you manually you need to do that, right? So here you have access to nicely all these little things, and you created everything. And you can also every time that you need something else, you can just bring this code. And that's it. That is part of your say application that you wanna create. What would you do with this? Just let us know. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.